Okay, I'm genuinely at a particular limit. And I need to have real theoretical discussions with whoever, physicists, I guess. Physicists who know music theory. Okay, so a dear friend of mine, when I was talking to him about my various puzzles and questions about rhythm and meter and time, he started asking me about Dilla. Yeah, I can't speak. Dilla. Dilla of Detroit. And I mean, the word was basically like, trust me, this is related to what you're talking about. So I haven't gotten very far in the book yet because the beginning is massively dense. There is discussion, and a certain amount of it, the commentary, the analysis is from Questlove. I don't know if he's the main source of this kind of critique of Dilla. I should know these things, but I'm not a hip hop guy, by nature anyway. I'm hip hop is sort of acquired taste for me. I'm a techno guy. Oh. 420! Okay, one thing at a time. I'm probably going to talk for a while. Okay. So there is discussion about how Dilla approaches two sorts of time. Two sorts of musical time. They might use the term, I know one of them is swing time. The other, they might just use straight time. They probably use the word straight time. These are familiar terms. But they're philosophical terms. And various musicians are going to have things to say about the distinction. And various musicians are going to have jack shit to say about it. Because there's no need to theorize it because they have all of the logical intuitions already. So, that's the thing about music, is that it actually is empirical science. Well, art for that matter, but I don't want to get too general. But specifically music. The identity with physics is just overwhelming. Music just is physics. Classical music, anyway. Rational music, any music that is organized according to some logical principle, that's physics. And still probably, if you want to talk about Einstürzende Neubauten or Merzbau, right? Like Masami Akita or Kurt Schwitter's Mertz. Both of them, they make Mertz. It's still physics. There's distinctions. I have almost zero concept of stochastic probability or Brownian motion or probabilistic processes. I have very little intuition about these. The only intuition, real solid musical intuition that I have is just intonation. Small integer ratios. Well, yeah. Okay. So I have my parlance. It's really essentially the same subject matter, but I don't want to do overly body English and what's the other term? Subjective bias. Subjective bias. Because of the fact that I don't tend to use the term swing. Straight time I can use, but I never really cared for the term swing. It's just not very specific. And, well, no, it is specific, but I don't know. I was always looking for a definition of swing, and I never found a very, very satisfactory one. The most intuitive way of thinking about swing, I probably think of this intuitively and other people will not. I used to say that Mark Bell, peace be upon him, programmed rhythms in the time signature of 1-1. It's just one beat. So it just sounds, I mean, and it's very distinctive. Anybody that's familiar with Mark Bell, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, listen to the speed jack stuff. When I say one beat, I mean, it's just like you're anxiously waiting for this one beat to reappear, and it's going like 140 BPM. So, what I mean anxiously waiting for the beat to appear when it's always there. I'll demonstrate it. So, it's not merely notes between beats. It's notes between beats that have a specific relation to those beats. Notes that appear, percussion sounds that appear only for the sake of a beat. So here's my impersonation of Mark Bell at what, like half tempo. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it like that. So, like flamming. A 64th note. Bra, bra, bra. Dilla, 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 pa, 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 dilla, da, di. So every beat doesn't, I mean, when I say beat, I mean of 4 on the floor beat. Like, here's the solid, here's the pulse, right? None of these beats simply appear. They have to appear, I mean, in order to sound like a natural flow of rhythm. And this is very perplexing also, because if you've paid any attention to rhythms, you will note, I mean, like long extended drum patterns, right, of live drummers or whatever. That, like, especially if you're programming a rhythm and you slow it down in order to be like get really intricate, and so, you know, not one beat per second, but one beat every 4 seconds, say. So you slow it down in Pro Tools, and you have a very, right, but then what? You have pitch correction work to do. Constant pitch correction work. Okay, what I'm talking about, and this is where it gets massively mathematical and philosophical, like that I just don't have the background for. What we're talking about is circular rhythm, strictly speaking, has no tempo. Because what happens is when you slow the pattern down, it didn't slow down at all, because all the space that you open up, if that space all gets filled with 128th notes, it's the same tempo. But if you open all that space and then there's just a gap, then suddenly it's like you've cut the tempo by 90% or whatever it is. But if you're going in a circle, and this is always perplexing to me at live shows, like during breakdowns and stuff for DJ sets, it's like you can strip things way down to just one beat, right? And you strip things down to one beat, and everybody knows that the beat may very well sit there, or it may sound like it has energy. But it's just one bare drum sound, one bare kick drum sound, going at 110 BPM. It can either sound dead and flat, linear periodicity, right? Equal measured marks. A clock with a determinate frequency. Okay, so the insight, now if I do it in my language, I will call it periodicity. Let's say fundamental periodicity. The inverse of hertz, cycles per second, is seconds per cycle. Seconds per cycle is the inverse of cycles per second. So when you dial in fixed periodicity, like you're the drummer for the Police, right? What's his name? I forget. You know, the drummer plays like a clock. A drummer is a clock. I mean, well, everything's a clock, but clocks within clocks. You know, but periodicity is what determines a clock. Periodicity. Now, circularity is inside of every periodicity. The circle is in every departure and return. It is a circle. The curvature. If for no other reason, Einstein. If for no other reason, Einstein. It's getting dark. So you see what I'm saying? Like, what the way I've been thinking about it is that periodic time, or the Heidegger scholars have words for this. The vulgar conception of time. Well, I wouldn't call it vulgar. It's just mathematically periodic. Or it's probably considered to be binary. A binary rhythm because you can define a clock frequency in the function generator, which is digital. And then what you do is, if you're using the function generator, then you have to derive the circularity. No. See, this is one of the puzzles. Is how do you get the circularity out of the periodicity? Well, we have sine cosine quadrature pair That sine cosine quadrature pair does all of the work. But still, you have philosophical questions to answer about the quadrature pair, sine cosine. You have philosophical questions to answer regarding where the circularity appears within a musical composition, which, after all, we know is governed by a pulse. So what I've been doing, and this is all totally, I mean, you just pull up my recordings. Things like, I don't know, the hangable audible, no, it was, what did I call it? Photech, square pusher Photech, I think. In all those tracks over the past few weeks, what's going on is I basically have just intonation ratios prepared. They're always going to be there. Why go in a series and go, okay, here's the fifth. Oh, here's the third. Here's the fourth. No, just put them all there, and they're all in front of you, and then move the fundamental. Move the fundamental. This is backwards. But how do you get the circularity in? Western music has zero circularity. All it has is, the only circularity Western music has is zero. That's a cute joke. Okay. Now, you want the fundamental period to go in a circle, but it has to have a fixed frequency. But we also know that a quadrature pair has quarter offset. So in a sense, the notes are already sequenced. So part of composition involves anticipating gain staging. So if you stack a bunch of stuff that's not going to go, that doesn't go together, then what are you going to do? You're going to spend a whole day trying to EQ the shit out of it, and in the end, it's going to sound bad. So, the answer, it's not an answer. It's a speculative, but I've just set this thing up now, and see, the way that I use the quadrature LFO is I've mainly been using it to fix parameters, to freeze parameters, like in space-time. Because what happens is, if you crank that thing audio rate and it's going, and it's you've got sine and cosine from the LFO going to, say, the filter cutoff frequency, right? And you drive that at audio rate, then what happens is, all of a sudden, the filtered sound becomes a standing wave. I mean, it's like it just stands in front of your face and you can look at it. So, I mean, for mixing, if for nothing else, this is massively useful. So, I mean, basically all you have to do for all your instruments is take the very same quadrature pair, LFO, and just plug it into every goddamn parameter. Both stacked. In the filter cutoff, sine and cosine stacked in the filter cutoff. get you, it all of a sudden it just, you notice it immediately, and then you think, yeah, and I've been making music for how many years without knowing about this? How come nobody ever told me about this? And that brings me to the basis of my questions. How come nobody ever told me about this? Am I really so ignorant? I'm really such a solipsist? No, I know tons of people. I know tons of musicians. I know tons of philosophers. Nobody has ever talked about this to me. Okay, so the idea is you fix it's classical music. You fix the tempo, and then circularity happens wherever, over the top. It's almost independent of the pulse. My theory right now is literally the only thing that's required is you have to have a clock that, like an atomic clock, ideally, right? That's your fundamental. And then sine cosine pair, any number. I mean, if you cascade them, it could be any number, right? So as the wheel turns, cowbell, maracas, closed hi-hat, open hi-hat, clap, cowbell, right? Literally. And you don't even have to synchronize it. Oh, these are philosophical questions. Okay, let's find let's see, can I find a pulse first? Well, it shows you the pulse. It's a little blue light that goes pulse. Okay. So where am I getting this pulse? It's not an atomic clock. I'm not even getting it from the function generator because you can't sweep the function generator. I'm getting it from the slimline Doepfer. LFO-VCO. And I am using for whatever reason, I am using the ramp output. So that's incline sawtooth wave. Incline sawtooth wave, that's the clock for this patch. As uncontroversial as sufficiently uncontroversial. It's a real clock. I mean, right? Now we can think in terms of tempo. I don't know what I mean. I don't know. It's 60 hertz. More or less, right? 1 cycle per second. Maybe it's a little bit faster. Okay, so tempo, you gotta keep in mind tempo. And remember, the only thing that we're listening to right now is that ramp from that oscillator, the clock, right? And one quadrature LFO, right? It's the same one that I always refer to. I had one of the outputs plugged into the sync jack of the clock, and then I thought, wait a second. It doesn't make a difference whether it's synced. Because the point is, pure periodicity and pure circularity are the same. So what do you think? Am I going to win the Grammy? The Grammy for what? For modular synth patch? No, yeah, maybe. Okay. We didn't touch any tempo, right? I mean, I'm just presenting some sound to you. So which tempo you want me to change? They're not synchronized, I'm telling you. But the CV inputs of the quadrature LFO that's doing the circular stuff, nothing in there. There is something going into the input of. Okay, yeah, that looks like cheating. Okay, I'm gonna take that out. Okay. Now there's nothing going into the clock. And all knobs unity. Except, well, if I make it unity, I'll slow the tempo down. Now, if this were not set up this way, see, I should make the bad case, the train wreck case. My theory is now, with one clock doing periodic time, and one doing circular time, train wreck is impossible. Nothing has happened to the pulse. And the circular LFO went through a whole thing of tempo change, and the geometry is set to work, taking full advantage of the curvature of the number pi. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the other way around, right? Okay, now I'm going to change the frequency of the clock. This is the circular LFO. I won't touch it. It's just doing that. Okay, now I'll slow down the circular LFO. The percussion sounds, right? See, it's something like this. Circles don't fuck with circles. I'll give you a circle here, here's another circle, here's another circle. They'll all just coexist. How come nobody ever told me this?